Welcome to episode 19 of Prime Puzzles. Let's look at the questions. 10 objects A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, and J were kept in 4 boxes. Box 1 and 2 have at least 3 objects each. Box 3 has at least 2 objects. Box 4 has at least 1 object. So they have given me 3 and 3, 6, plus 2, 8, plus 1, 9 objects. Location is precise, as in at least 9 objects where they're going. The one additional object can go in any of the boxes. It is also known that A and B are in this such and such, C and F are in the same box, which is in either box 2 or box 3. Out of C, D, H, J, no 2 objects are in the same box. I is in box 3, none of E, H, and J is in box 4. Now, for this question, what is most important is if you look at the first word, of question 1, question 3, question 4, they should tell you that there will be multiple cases involved. And as soon as you know there are multiple cases involved, it doesn't make sense to try to create one unique case. Simply let's try and list out all possible cases right at the beginning, or at least how those cases can be created. Once that is identified, our work will become easy. I know box 1, box 2, box 3, and box 4. A and B are in the same box. C and F are in the same box, which is neither box 2 nor box 3. Okay, so I know box 1 or box 4 will have C and F. So let me just confirm the cases. Box 1, box 2, box 3, and box 4. C and F can go here. As soon as in the second case, when you see, now box 4 has 2 guaranteed people. Box 4 has got the one extra object that it needed. So box 3 will have precisely 2 items. Box 2 will have precisely 3 items. And box 1 will have precisely 3 items. Here, we still don't know precisely how many items will be needed. That we have to take care of. Next, we know out of C, D, H, J, no 2 objects are in the same box. So C, D, H, J go in different boxes. This much we know. Okay. Statement 3 says I is in box 3. Okay. I is here. Okay. As soon as you get I is in box 3, as soon as you see I is in box 3, now can you see A and B being in the same box? A and B being in the same box. For the second case at least, A and B can be in either box 1 or box 2. That much is also identified. In the first case, you could have AB in box 1, box 2, box 3, box 4, everywhere it is possible. So AB being in box 1 or box 2 in second case is known. We'll take care of it later. None of E, H, and J is in box 3. E, H, or J is not in box 3. So now see, C is either in box 1 or box 4. H cannot be in box 3. J cannot be in box 3. And C, D, H, J had to be in different boxes. So can I now assuredly say, D has to be in box 3? So I put D here, and I put D here. I put D here. Wonderful. These things are identified. Now, H and J have to be, in this case, have to be in either box 1 or box 2. So I'm recording that HJ and HJ. In the first case, HJ have to be in box 2 or box 4. HJ or HJ. Okay. See, and now with that I know A, B have to be either in the same box. For the second case, this looks more appealing and interesting right now. Either AB will be in box 1 or in box 2. So I'm saying if AB go here, then there are just 2 boxes left, E and G. They will necessarily come here, but this is not the guaranteed outcome. I have placed AB separately. So I can also have HJ, HJ, ID, CF, and AB, and EG. For the right hand side, all the possible cases are listed. You get 2 cases from here, you get 2 cases from here. From here, I know that AB cannot come in box 3 because it can have maximum of 3 items. It cannot come in box 4 because it can have maximum of two items. So AB will either come in box 1 or come in box 2. So we will make two cases here also. AB coming here or CF HJ AB come, sorry, A and B coming here. ID is fixed here. H or J is fixed here. Now, in both these cases, EG is left. See, this has got four items now. Box 1 has got 4 items, which would mean this has to be 3, this has to be 2, this has to be 1. 4, 3, 2, 1. 2 is already here, 1 is already here. The two items that are missing, E and G, have to necessarily be here. E and G necessarily have to be in box 2. But here, E and G, okay, one more item is at least needed in box 1. So between E or G, one extra item has to come here. And I know E will not come in box 3. E will not come in box 3 from the third statement. But G can potentially come in box 3 also. G can potentially come in box 2 also. E or G can potentially come in box 2 also. E or G, whichever is left outside, whichever is left out of box 1, can come in box 4 also. Can both E and G come here? It is also possible that box 1 has both E and G. Okay, lots of cases. Let us get to individual questions now. We have created a plethora of cases. Let's see. Okay, this is 3 guaranteed. This is 2 guaranteed. This is, sorry, 3 guaranteed. This is 2 guaranteed. This is 2 guaranteed. Here we don't really have a guaranteed case. In these 3 setups, we have guaranteed number of items in each box. But in this case, we don't really have a guaranteed number of items in each box. Let's see. If A and E are not in the same box. Okay, if A and E are not in the same box. So we are basically rejecting this bottom wala kahani. Okay, wonderful. I love it because A and E, because the other 3 cases I have more information about. A and E are not in the same box, and objects in box number 2 and 3 are equal. Objects in box number 2 and 3 are equal. Okay, so box 3 has 3 items. So that will only happen if, see, case wise, if we have E or G can come, has to come, one of the two has to come here. E cannot come here. So G comes here and E stays here. Now box 1 and box 2 is going on. E is definitely not happening here. Okay. Because in these cases, box 3 and box 2 are not same. So this is the only possibility. C, F, E in box 1, H or J, A, B in box 2, I, D, G in box 3, and H or J in box 4. Okay. Then which of the following statements cannot be true? H is in box 4. Can H be in box 4? Yes, it is possible. So this cannot be our answer. E and F are in the same box. E and F are necessarily in the same box. So it has to be true, not our answer. J and B are in the same box. J and B can be in the same box. So this is also not our answer. G and D are not in the same box. G is here, D is here. No, they have to be in the same box. So of statement D, G and D are not in the same box cannot be true. Answer is option D. So, but before we move on to the next question, I have to get rid of these red marks because those were specific for cases. Let us look at question 2 now. All the objects from 2 out of the 4 boxes are collected and wrapped as a gift. The gift contains 3 objects. If the gift contains 3 objects, it can only be from box 3 and 4. Box 3 has 2 items, box 4 has 1 item, only then, and does not have H. Okay. It does not have H. So which means box 4 definitely has J then. Box 4 has J, box 4 has J, box 2 has H, box 2 has H. Okay. H and G are in the same box. H and G are in the same box. Can G come here? Yes. In this case, G will come here, so E will go here. I will have either this case CFE, HABG, ID, and J, or I will have CFAB, HEG, ID, and J. Okay. How many of the following statements must be true? B and E are not in the same box. B and E not in the same box. B and E not in the same box. Yes, this is valid. One of the objects in the gift is D. Yes, box 3 and box 4 are being used. So one of the items is D. Yes. Box 1 has more objects than box 2. In the first case, box 1 has more objects than box 2. But in the second case, box 2 has more objects than box 1. So this is not necessarily true. So out of these three statements, there are two statements which must be true. Okay, before moving on, let's get rid of the red marks, because that was only valid for the second question. Now let us read the third question. If the number of objects in box 3 and 4 are found to be equal, okay, box 3 and 4 have same number of objects, okay, which would mean either E or G here in the second case. The first case is eliminated. This case, or this case. These three cases we are looking at. And E is in box 1. Oh, E is in box 1. So if E is here, G is here, E is here, G is here, and E is in box 1. So we are now only looking at these two cases. We are now only looking at these two cases. The case at the top right is no longer valid because E is in box 1. Then how many of the following statements must be true? C and E are in the same box. C and E in the same box. C and E in the same box. In this second right bottom case, C and E are not in the same box. So this does not necessarily have to be true. A and E are not in the same box. A and E are not in the same box. A and E are not in the same box. In either case, A is in the second box and E is always in the first box. So yes, this statement has to be true. A and H are in the same box. A and H can be in the same box. A and H can be in the same box, but that does not translate into A and H have to be in the same box. So when it says which of the following statements must be true, 3 is not necessarily true. Statement 4, exactly 1 out of C and G is in box 4. In this case, G is in box 4. In this case, C is in box 4. Yes, exactly 1 out of C and G is in box 4. So this is also valid. So how many of the following statements must be true? Answer is option B, 2. Okay, next. If C and F are in box 4, so these cases are being referred to. These two cases are being referred to. Then which of the following objects are in box 3? Box 3, I have ID and ID. Okay. So the answer has to be option C. The fun thing about this question or this setup is it requires a lot of careful case counting. If you don't do that, then you will end up going around in circles and a lot of things will miss out. And despite the initial set of instructions being few, it may seem appealing when you want to do it in an exam. But then if you don't follow the instructions appropriately, life will become tougher. Okay, moving on to the next set. 10 members of parliament, Anant, Barman, Chauhan, Devendra, Enos, Farhan, George, Harman, Ishank, and Jaitley, were sitting around a circular table in such a way that the number of MPs facing away from the center was not less than the number of MPs facing towards the center. Okay. So number of away from the center is greater than equal to those who are facing towards the center. These MPs were from 4 different parties from among BJP, INC, TMC, and SP. There were 2 MPs from INC and SP each, and 3 from the other 2 parties. Okay, so BJP has 3 MPs, INC has 2, TMC has 3 MPs, SP has 2. All the MPs were sitting at an equal distance from their immediate neighbors. It was known that. Okay, basically this is a circular arrangement question. So let me create a circle. Okay. Because I'm extremely confident of my drawing, I'm also going ahead and using straight lines to draw the marks. Okay. Devendra was sitting equidistant from George and Herman. the number of MP or MPs between Devendra and George was an even number. Consider 0 as an even number. Can't really record this. This is not positive information right now. The MP sitting adjacent to Bourbon, a BJP MP, were from the same party. Okay. Farhan, who was facing towards the center, so Farhan is facing towards the center, was sitting immediately right of Enos and second to the left of George. Both Enos and Farhan were either facing towards the center or away from the center. I've already been told Farhan is facing towards the center, so Enos is also facing towards the center. But I can't really place Enos and Farhan anywhere right now. Okay, I will see. Anant, a BJP MP, was facing towards the center and was sitting fourth to the right of Chauhan, who was an SP MP and facing towards the center. Yes, this is a good starting point because we have lots of information about Anant and Chauhan. So let's say Anant, he was from BJP and he was facing towards the center. He was sitting fourth to the right of Chauhan. So if Chauhan is here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So Chauhan is here and he's facing towards the center. Enos and Jaitley were not INC MPs. Cool. 3 MPs were sitting between Enos and Jaitley, and neither of them was sitting adjacent to Anant or Chauhan. Okay. So for Anant and Chauhan, I'm just looking. It cannot come here. It cannot come here. It cannot come here. They cannot come here. They cannot come here. Okay. So if Enos or Jaitley was here, I can have Enos or Jaitley here, or I can have Enos or Jaitley here. So 2 cases are possible. So wonderful. I will have to create another circle now. Life is so irritating. Okay. Things that I'm sure of: Chauhan, SP, and Anant, BJP. The 2 cases that I had identified was Enos and Jaitley here. And then we can get Enos or Jaitley here. The other case was Enos or Jaitley here and Enos or Jaitley here. Okay. There were 3 MPs sitting between Enos and Jaitley, and neither of them were sitting adjacent to Anant or Chauhan. So these are the 2 possible cases only, no? Enos and Jaitley cannot come here. No other possibility. No other possibility. If it was here, then it will be coming to this place. It cannot come to Anant. If it was here, it would be next to Chauhan. It was here, it would be next to Anant. If it was here, Enos Jaitley. So all cases covered. Yes. INC MPs were sitting opposite each other and facing away from the center. No INC MP was sitting adjacent to BJP MPs. Okay. So I now need a diagonal. I need a diameter for INC MPs. Can this be the diagonal? Can this be the diagonal? No. Anant BJP is here. Can EJ be that diagonal for INC members? No. Because EJ, E and J were not from INC. This was also told to us. So this cannot be the INC diagonal. This cannot be the INC diagonal because EJ is also here. This can be the INC diagonal. Chauhan cannot be the INC diagonal. Okay, so this is INC. This is INC. This is known. In this case, can I have INC diagonal anywhere? This diagonal is gone. This diagonal is gone. This diagonal is gone. I can have it here. But if I have it here, INC MP will be next to a BJP MP. So this diagonal is gone. This diagonal is gone. All 5 diagonals are gone. Okay, which means the second case is impossible. You cannot really have anyone there. Okay. So irritating. Next. Farhan was a BJP MP. Okay, I will see. Farhan was a BJP MP. There was some information about Farhan, no? Okay. Farhan was a BJP MP, or I will see. I will see. Farhan BJP MP. Devendra was sitting equidistant from George and Harban. I am only concerned with this diagram now. This diagram has been rejected from consideration. Devendra was sitting equidistant from George and Harban. Not really right now. There are lots of spots left. The number of MPs we'll see. The MPs sitting adjacent to Burman, a BJP MP, were from the same party. Okay. The MP sitting next to Burman were from the same party. So Burman cannot come here. Burman cannot come here. Burman, can he come here? Burman can come here, and EJ and Anant will be from BJP. Ooh, but the problem is, I was also told Farhan is a BJP MP. So if EJ is also from BJP, and Burman is also from BJP, and Anant is also from BJP, and Farhan is also from BJP, that would mean there are 4 BJP MPs. So that doesn't work. It cannot be here because you have INC and BJP here. Can Burman come here? No. This is INC, and EJ cannot be from INC. Can Burman come here? Yes. The only spot where Burman can come is this spot. The only spot where Burman can come is this spot, because if Burman was here, sorry, Burman cannot be here. This is INC. EJ is here. Enos or Jaitley is here. So Burman cannot be here. If Burman was here, if Burman was at this spot, imagine if Burman was at this spot, next to him, the 2 people are supposed to be from the same party. So Anant is from BJP, EJ is from BJP, Burman is from BJP, and we also had the information Farhan is from BJP. So we'll have 4 MPs from BJP. That is not possible. Now, Burman cannot be here because BJP and INC, different people. Burman cannot be from here because INC and EJ that was told to us, Enos and Jaitley were not INC MPs. So these 2 cannot be INC, and anyway 2 INC MPs have been identified. The only spot left for Burman is to come here. If Burman is from here, Chauhan is from here. So these folk will be from SP. Okay. Now I know, wonderful thing. Now I know Enos faces inwards, and to his immediate right, we have Farhan. Farhan, who was facing towards the center, was sitting immediately to the right of Enos. So if Enos was seated at this spot, and he was facing center, to his immediate right is Burman. It is not Farhan. So Enos cannot come here. It will necessarily be Jaitley. And Enos will necessarily come here. He's facing inside. To his immediate right, we have Farhan. To his immediate right, we have Farhan, who is from BJP. Okay. About Farhan, we had the additional information. Farhan was second to the left of George. Now, George can be in INC facing, okay, this guy is facing outward. This guy is facing outward. No, because INC MPs are facing outwards. INC MPs are sitting opposite each other and facing away from the center. Okay, 2 people are facing outward. Let's see. Now, if this guy is sitting, Farhan, where are you? Farhan, who was facing towards the center, was sitting immediately to the right of Enos and second to the left of George. So if George was here, Farhan can come here. Yo. But if George was seated here and facing inwards, then Farhan can come to its left as well. So it doesn't help. Let's see. I can't place George right now. The only piece of information that I haven't really worked with is Devendra sitting equidistant from George and Harban. Okay. Let's see. So Devendra, the gap between Devendra and George was an even number. So can Devendra be here? I'm just checking. If Devendra was here, where can George be? George can be here. No, 3 people in between. George can be here. No, it is not possible. George has to be at one of these 2 spots. So, and he cannot be here. So Devendra coming here is not possible. Okay. Let's see if Devendra was here and George was here. So 3 people in between. If Devendra was here, George was here. Still 1 person in between. If Devendra was here, George was here. 0 people in between, which is an even number. But then on his right, we have Jetli. So that is also not possible. Devendra can't come at this spot. Let us see if I put Devendra here. If I put Devendra here, 1, 2, 3, George can be here. But 1, 2, 3, I can't really have anyone anywhere. Can you see the possible spots for Devendra? Possible spots for Devendra could be here, or here, or here, or here. And we have effectively checked out all spots. We have cancelled this spot, we have cancelled this spot, we have cancelled this spot. So it is guaranteed now. Devendra has to be here. Devendra has to be here. And now I have to place George and Herman. Now I have to place George and Herman in such a way. Now I have to place George and Herman in such a way that they are equidistant from there. The only 2 spots that are left are George and Herman can be here. Additionally, I know Farhan had to be second to the left of George. So the person here has to be George, and George is also facing inwards. Only then to his second to his left would be Farhan. Second to his left would be Farhan. And I would have Herman here. I would have Herman here. Now there is only 1 person left. That 1 person left is Ishank. He is from INC. Okay, fun thing, another fun thing. Can you see people who were looking away were supposed to be greater than equal to those who are looking at the center? Number of people looking at the center has already turned to 5. So the people looking away from center also have to be 5. So looking away from center, looking away from center, looking away from center. Orientation also we know. Additionally, we have 3 BJP MPs, we have 2 INC MPs, we have 2 SP MPs. The only party that is left is TMC, TMC, and TMC. Now we can get to individual questions. We have orientation, name, party, everything. Let's go. How many TNC MPs are facing towards the center? George is facing towards the center. Enos is facing towards the center. So 2 TMC MPs are facing towards the center. Which of the following statements are true? Burman was sitting second to the right of Herman. Herman is looking outside. Second to his right is George. No, this is not true. George, Herman, and Enos were TMC MPs. George, Herman, and Enos were TMC MPs. Yes, this is true. Devendra and Ishank were facing each other. Devendra and Ishank, while they are sitting on opposite seats, they're not facing each other. They're facing away from the center, no? So they are not facing each other. The answer to the question has to be option B. Only 2 is valid. Ishank was sitting, okay, second to the right of Farhan. Second to the right of Farhan is George. No. Second to the left of Jetli. Jetli is facing outside. Second to his left is Chauhan. So no. Third to the left of Anant. Anant is here. Third to his left is indeed Ishank. And third to the right of Anant. Third to his right is Herman. So no. Of course, answer has to be option C. Last question. 3 of the following options follow a certain sitting arrangement. Which of the following options does not follow that pattern? Chauhan, Burman, Jetli. Chauhan, Burman, Jetli. Okay. Herman, Devendra, George. Herman, Devendra, George. Okay. Enos, Farhan, Anant. Enos, Farhan, Anant. Okay. Chauhan, Burman, Jetli was clockwise. Herman, Devendra, George was clockwise. Enos, Farhan, Anant is not clockwise. Ishank, Jetli, Herman. Ishank, Jetli, Herman. Okay. This is the bigger issue. Ishank, Jetli, Herman are not in consecutive seats. Enos, Farhan, Anant are in consecutive seats. Herman, Devendra, George are in consecutive seats. Chauhan, Burman, Jetli are in consecutive seats. Ishank, Jetli, Herman are not. So the answer to the last question has to be option D. And that will be all for both these sets. Amazingly difficult sets, I would have to comment, because it has taken a lot of time to explain them. But okay, hope you learned something. That will be all for this episode, people. Have a good day and okay, bye.